Today, I would like to talk about several possible ways to transition into tech, to apply the knowledge that you already have either from your education that is not technical, not STEM related, or to learn a new profession, fully new one, and start from scratch into another industry, another job, another company, maybe move to another country if that's your goal. Yeah, so I would like to discuss this topic. So how I would approach it and how I approached it. I would invite you to look at Google training programs. They are pretty cheap to use. They are situated on Coursera learning program, Coursera learning platform. So they require a subscription for monthly usage. So if you complete it in 12 months, it will be one price, and if you complete it in 2 months, but it will be hard, it will be much cheaper. So take your time and subscribe whenever you feel like you're ready. Several career paths include Google Project Management. This course gives you this specialization. It gives you 6 courses that you need to complete, and the 6th is a capstone project, which is the hardest one. It uses all the knowledge that you had during those 5 previous courses. And you need to use all those skills to present a project management project to your peers. You will be evaluated by a minimum of 2 of them, and you will evaluate different people as well. This is how Coursera works. If you would like to become product manager in the future, or you're just interested in how the tech world works, because a lot of tech companies, they use agile methodology, and this is what it's aimed at, this specialization. So the second one would be Google Analytics, and I would recommend anyone who's interested in tech to just go through this specialization because the skills are pretty widely used. Data analytics is needed in every means of life. It's needed in data analysis for like bioengineering, bioinformatics. It's needed for social reviews, handouts, just generally to make some social project on the information that you've collected from actual people. You can analyze feedback from like customer success in your company. This tool is just applicable to any job, and if you have everything that the other candidate has and also can use, for example, SQL, R, or Python for data analytics, you will have such a great bonus. You will surely be admitted. So this specialization, it also has several courses before the capstone project. It's a little bit easier than project management because generally the knowledge is quite fixed, and you need to understand how to analyze data, practice on your own. There are no information that you need to memorize and then recall it from your memory. So everything is really hands-on. Just remember the basic commands, understand how to use them, do some of your own projects, download some data from the internet, play with it, and see how it goes. The next one is Google IT Support Specialist and Google Automation with Python. Why I am telling you about 2 of them at the same time is because one is an advanced version of the other. So you should start with IT Support Specialist and then transition into Automation with Python. IT Support Specialist includes both teaching you how to talk properly to customers who might be not okay with what they are facing, because customer success roles usually talk to people who are not happy with the product, so they are angry because they paid money and they didn't get the result that they wanted, something doesn't work. Of course they are angry, and being able to deal with those emotions, not making them, not taking them too seriously, resolving conflicts, pushing the problems to different departments, to different people, different backlogs, as well as providing immediate IT supports, for example, debugging maybe something, solving something right now, maybe some Wi-Fi problems, maybe some server problems. IT help desk can do like the basic IT stuff that the support specialists in the company do, and they are doing it right now with you while the ticket is being opened. What about the automation with Python? It develops your knowledge of IT support specialist. And what it does is you understand that there are several problems with, for example, a software, for example, your website or something like that. And you understand the basic, like you can break it down into different steps, and all of those steps can be automated in your mind, in your brain, and you write it down. You write your like what you came up with code, so that you don't have to come back to this problem once again and again. So automation with Python is more applied and is not something you need to memorize. It's just the commands, using the command line properly, using Python, running code in Python on the apps that are broken, on the parts of the network that are broken. And IT support specialist is somebody who faces the customer actually. So, for example, you write to Netflix, "Hi Netflix, this video doesn't work," and IT support specialist, he received this ticket and tries to pin this request. Yeah, for example, like that. What about the salaries of those specialists? They are very on demand. So Google training programs, they have done those programs in order to help people get new jobs if they don't have such an opportunity right now. So I'll check what Glassdoor says about entry-level salaries of those specialists. So about IT support specialists, they say about like $40,000 per year for an entry-level specialist, and you can work from home, you can work from anywhere in the world, because obviously you don't need to be in the office every time. You just need your computer and explain that tickets are resolved. It's a pretty easy job, and you can grow up to like $60,000. I think top 5 earn $65,000 per year. For example, New York, it's not that big of a salary, but from where I am, from some parts of Europe or just some small cities, this job is pretty easy, and learning is pretty easy. So the ratio of salary per units of your force to study it is pretty high. Then about data analytics. Data analysts and business data analysts earn a lot of money, as much as software developers, for example, do, and there is no like highest level of salary that you can learn, and the career progression is pretty high, because you can work as a top manager and still do data analytics, just because it helps you with the data that you have, and making hypotheses on what you can do further. So data analysts usually start with $80,000, and I think the medium is $160,000. So it's a huge sum of money, and it's very on demand. All startups need data analysts. All big companies rely on, so they all have data-driven approach. All of their decisions are made with data, and that's what data analysts help with. About project management, this role is also very, very well paid. Project management roles are not in such high demand. Usually people are looking for somebody more experienced with 3 to 5 years, but you can make this you can get this experience through your own projects, finding your own little startup, maybe an online course. It can be an internship in some companies. A lot of companies in India offer remote internships in very interesting startups, from software as a service to healthcare, e-commerce, education. You can look into them on Analyst, which I talked about in my previous video. And project management roles, project managers earn a very high salary as well. In top companies, it can be for a mid-level specialist, $200,000. For an entry-level specialist, I would say it's from 60 to 80. But it depends on where you want to work as a project manager and what taxes you pay. Of course, it all counts, but still you can rely on the data for your future, like understanding what you can earn, what you can't earn, this type of questions. Then the most interesting and something that you might not know is user experience design, UX design. It usually comes in pair with UX UI design, but Google decided that UX design is the one thing that you need to focus on, and user interface design will come with user experience. So user experience designer is not a designer, so he doesn't need to know how to draw. He or she doesn't need to know how to draw. It's a way of saying that this person is designing and planning on how your website will look. If you are familiar with no-code tools such as Bubble, Tilde, then Figma, all of those tools, they help you understand how your website will look like without any lines of code. And UX designer, he builds prototypes. He can draw them in hand, but using software to help him do that is much easier. And once he built this website, he gets an A/B testing group. It's a small fraction of people, users of your product, who want to use the beta version of the new one, for example, and they fill out a survey, maybe, for example, on how easy it was for them to use this website, how hard it was, like what specifics they didn't like, what they liked. And you also can measure the stats on your website directly, like what buttons were clicked, what buttons were not clicked, what questions did people ask to the support specialists, for example, something that they didn't find, and us as a team, we thought that it would be really easy and hands-on to find. Were all the links working? All those type of questions, UX designer picks them all up and works with them, categorizing them, understanding what's like the major problems, what are not so serious problems. A median salary for somebody in, for example, in California, in the top like FANG companies, would be $160,000 to $100,000. But I would say a starting salary would be $70,000. This is a very in-demand job, and the thing that differentiates it from all of the previous is that the skills are pretty typical for it. So project manager may do data analytics, analyst may do IT support by learning some of the skills, not the whole tool set. But talking about UX designer, they have a whole new skill set. It doesn't mean that it's hard. It's not, I can assure you. Especially this training program, it's pretty basic, and I would recommend doing something as well after you finish it, after you graduate from it. But this is a very specific tool set, so you need to understand that. And if you want to progress in this role, you can also be promoted to somebody in the management roles, but it will be a little bit more tricky. What else I wanted to say is that when you start those career programs, you are always filling out a survey about what's your current career, what's your career goals, what you have achieved and want to achieve, what you want Google to help you with. So if you have a citizenship or a work permit in Europe or America, you might be invited to the biggest companies in the States or in Europe to work there. For example, partners of Google are Tesla, Facebook, Microsoft, Walgreens, Target, and many, many more. So when you fill out this survey, you indicate which companies you are interested in and which companies you are not interested in. But I would recommend state that you're interested in all of them, just in case some of these roles will be interesting. Just after I graduated this program, I received 5 job offers. So it works. It's really, really cool, and it helps you with your career progression for sure. Also on the Google website, not on Coursera, you can find the Digital Garage courses. So let me see how it looks. Yes, so something like this. And those courses are about more of soft skills that you can develop. So it's about digital marketing, how to find the right customers, how to promote a business, how to expand the business, how to connect with your customers. All of those type of courses, they are shorter than the ones on Coursera, and they also give you a certificate. The most interested in and most, I think, on demand is Fundamentals of Digital Marketing. It's a huge course. It's 26 modules. You need to pass a test, the final one, to get a certificate. It's pretty tricky. I didn't pass it from my first try, but it gives you a really good understanding on what businesses, like local businesses, really want. If you want to work for somebody else, it gives you an understanding to how to build, for example, a digital marketing campaign from scratch. And if you want to work for yourself, it will be just a really valuable, value of gold skill that you can get from this platform. About more technical programs that you can pursue online. Of course, it's software development. It's a really hard skill to wrap your head around, but you also don't need a college degree to do it. And sometimes a college degree might be a disadvantage for your employers because you spent so much time on this degree and didn't build any projects while doing it. So I would recommend starting with Code Academy and Free Code Camp because those resources are free. They are out there. You can always drop the subjects if you don't like them. But you also can understand what languages maybe you prefer. Some languages are very typical for software development, for example, app development. iOS or Android, it will be Swift or Kotlin. If it's web development, it's JavaScript and like HTML and CSS. You don't need to know all of them. You just need to understand what projects you want to build at the end, and focus on this particular language and master only it. Once you have a good understanding, once you finished a lot of courses, for example, on Udemy, there are a lot of them, and they are very, very good. And also on LinkedIn Learning, there is a whole career path on full stack development, backend development, front end, whichever you want. It's also by a subscription for premium, so you don't need to pay extra for them. So once you finish some courses, you might want to interview for some positions, and entry-level specialists are always asked some coding-related questions in their first round of interview. So it might be a whiteboard where you need to write your code from scratch, and then somebody will write it down and see whether it works or not. It's usually some algorithms. So there is a really great course on algorithms on Coursera. I think it's San Diego University, but let me check. Yes, the University of San Diego and High School of Economics in Russia, where I am from. But there is also one in Stanford University. You may check both of them, why not? So algorithms is something more mathematical than programming that you need to understand. It's like a whole philosophy and like a whole new language that you need to speak. It helps you break down hard problems into smaller ones and solve it algorithm by algorithm. Some algorithms were created and designed because they are very beautiful, because they can save a lot of your time. For example, they can optimize your system, and you might not understand them from the first view. But what's interesting about them is that you can just utilize them, remember them, and you will benefit from them a lot. So in order to get ready for those type of interviews, you need to use HackerRank or Lead Code Problems. Lead Code Problems have 3 different levels: easy, medium, and hard. Hard ones are something that you will not be asked in an entry-level position, but still you need to familiarize yourself with some of them. Everybody says that the hardest part is learning those lead code problems, but it's what you need to really be pushing yourself towards, because once you get this entry-level job, you will be in demand always. So after 1 year, you'll become a middle specialist. After 3 years, you will become a senior specialist, and you'll never be asked about those types of problems again, ever again. Maybe in some big tech companies, but once you are a senior, you will be reached out to recruiters, maybe every day. If you say on your profile that you're open to new positions, you will be reached out every week. That's the minimum. I think you'll be reached out by multiple recruiters every day. Because software developers are in such a high demand, and they are being paid a lot of money even in small companies, because it's what the company is relying on. It's something that, like, everything is digital now. Everyone needs websites, their own platforms, stuff like that, and there is no way we can go further without developers. What about career growth? It's from junior, intern, juniors, middle specialist, senior specialist, team lead, and COO, for example, of a company, the one who is above team leads. So the starting level somewhere in Cupertino or Palo Alto of a software developer would be $100,000, but I think the median is for a junior specialist, it's 60,000. Also, the career growth is very, very easy once you get to know how to code. So everyone needs new specialists, everyone wants to hire senior specialists. It's just hard on the part where you need to learn and get your first job. Once you are above it, everything's going to be just very, very nice and easy and rewarding. You can always transition into management with the skills that you already have and with the understanding that you processed right now. So yeah, the whole world is yours if you're a software developer. Several more careers that are not that obvious would be data engineer and cybersecurity analyst. So cybersecurity analyst, there is a specialization from IBM. You get those badges from IBM while completing this course. Cybersecurity is somebody who is, for example, an ethical hacker who hacks the system that the company is using in order to understand its weaknesses, in order to improve them, push them to the department that focuses on it, to tell it to the upper managers and try to resolve those problems. Cybersecurity analysts are not a job that it's not a job that is that startups are interested in, but it's a really valuable skill for big companies, big tech companies, because attacks are a thing and they ruin the whole system for a lot of people. Businesses can't run when the system is down. So if you can prevent it from happening, that's really, really great. About data engineering, it's a person who basically does the upper level data analytics. So he or she builds pipelines for data analytics to use for. It's a more hardware, so to say, related problem, so program job, because you need to understand how the databases work, how to push data in different ways, how to use the resources properly, what you can do to build the infrastructure for data. This is a job that I would recommend doing several specialities in. So it's on IBM as well, on Coursera, but there are several on DataCamp, Free Code Camp as well, because there are different approaches to it, and the knowledge is pretty fundamental. So comparing it to, for example, front-end development, it's a little bit more hard of a skill to learn. Those salaries are higher than the data analysts, but companies don't necessarily need as much data engineers as they need data analysts. But once a company needs it, the competition rate will be lower for such a specialist. So I will drop the links, I will send them below, on the main courses, the main professions that I find interesting, that I personally completed, and can say that they are very valuable, interesting, and generally broadening your vision of this world. If you have any questions, feel free to send them to me. I am helping people to relocate to different countries, find jobs there, find opportunities for internships, even like first jobs, as well as helping people to be accepted into great universities on the specialty that they are interested in. All of those questions, feel free to mail me or DM me. Thanks.